In our last lesson, we talked at great length on the cult of motherhood in Nazi Germany. We learned how the Nazis actually spread their propaganda, the Nazi ideology among the masses to delude them. Now, to this end, the Nazis maneuvered language and media to their advantage. This is because we have learnt at great length how Hitler was a great orator, and simply on account of his charisma he could win over a huge army of followers, and so he used language and very persuasive ways of speech to control his masses' mind. You will be surprised to know that the choicest of words were used by Hitler and the Nazi party to describe the atrocious acts that they performed in the name of racial cleansing. Words like killing and murder never featured in their vocabulary. But what were the words that they used? They used certain words which were more euphemistic in nature. That is to say, they never used the harsh words like killing or murder in their vocabulary. So, to describe the various words in the Nazi vocabulary, we have the term spatial treatment. Now, spatial treatment was used specifically for the undesirables. So, the undesirables, according to the Nazis, were not being killed and murdered ruthlessly by the Nazi officials. Instead, they were being given a special treatment. Another term was selection and disinfection. So, the clean and pure German society was being disinfected at this point of time, and so the undesirables were selected and they were being given a special treatment in the concentration and extermination camps. The treatment that was meted out to the Jews was referred to as the final solution. So, the Jews were not being exterminated and completely swept out of existence in the concentration camps. Instead, they were being given a final solution. So, we have also learnt about the Jewish problem that Hitler posited, and he also mentioned that it was this final solution that could bring this Jewish problem to an end. And then another word that was used to refer to the treatment that was meted out to the disabled was euthanasia. By the euthanasia program, the disabled, the abnormal, the unfit and unhealthy Germans were killed. So, these were the words which were used to define the various Nazi activities. And we have also learnt how atrocious all these activities were, how ruthless and how spine-chilling this entire Nazi rule was. So, what we can understand from this is that the Nazis used language to deceive the people. The German masses were put under a false impression that they were in the process of getting a better Germany by this special treatment, by selection and disinfection in the German society. So, this was how the Nazis were using language to their advantage. We just saw a clip from a famous Coca-Cola advertisement, and it is only through one advertisement that many symbolic messages were conveyed to us. Firstly, we saw a polar bear sweating, which is a commentary on global warming and how it is affecting various species throughout the world. So the polar bear is also being affected by global warming and its repercussions. Then we saw the polar bear got hold of a bottle of Coca-Cola, and this one bottle of Coca-Cola, of this aerated drink, was so refreshing and energizing that the polar bear now feels better. So in this way, the Coca-Cola company advertised its own drink. In this way, the Coca-Cola company conveyed to the audience that this one drink is very refreshing and energizing. So can you understand the power of advertisements? We are surrounded by advertisements in every kind of way, be that on the placards or the banners, or even through visual advertisements in the form of the ads that we see on the TV. Between our favorite shows, we often see various advertisements that introduce us to new products. And chances are that many a times you have been interested to buy certain products after seeing the advertisements. So the point that we need to understand here is that the visual media plays a very important role in creating very strong impressions on our minds, because it is through various kinds of posters, advertisements, banners, placards that our minds are swayed. And the Nazis knew very well how to exploit this power of visual media. To this end, the Nazis used images, posters, leaflets, films, catchy slogans to stereotype the Jews. And these all kinds of visual media were not directed only against the Jews, but all the undesirables were also vilified in the process. They were shown as evil in the German society. Here we have certain posters from the Nazi Germany. The first one is directed against the Jews. It's a stereotypical image of the Jews. And here what is written in German roughly translates to that the Jews were responsible for war. We can also see that this person is wearing the typical Jewish hat. This person also has a yellow star of David on his chest. So these markers identify him as a Jew. Now the second one is directed for the Germans. What we see here is a doctor in his uniform, and in front of him is sitting a patient. Now this is also a German poster, and here the figure 60,000 is of very importance to us, because this poster conveys the message that in order to take care of this one person who is unhealthy, unfit, or probably abnormal, the German state requires 60,000 Reichsmark, which was the German currency. So what message does this poster convey? This means that these unfit and unhealthy people who were categorized as the undesirables were actually a burden to the German society. Why would the German society spend such huge amounts to take care of these people? Instead, these people could simply be put to death under the euthanasia program. So this is how another idea was being conveyed through this poster. And this final one actually demonizes the communists. The communists were also the arch enemies of the Nazis, because the communists believed in left-wing ideology and the Nazis believed in far right-wing ideology. And the communists were severely persecuted and executed in Nazi Germany, which is why they have been demonized here. So this is how the Nazis used not just language but various kinds of visual media to actually infiltrate the minds of the German masses. Before proceeding with this lesson, let me ask you a question. the Nazis used visuals to propagate stereotypes about the Jews. Do you think this statement is true or false? Well, the correct answer is that this statement is true, because we just learned how the Nazis used both language and media, or to be very specific, visual media, to stereotype the Jews and vilify the undesirables. Hitler actually left no stones unturned in forwarding and spreading the anti-Semitic propaganda among the masses. Now we have learnt about the careful exploitation of language and media that was being done by the Nazis. And at the same time, as a part of this, propaganda films were made to forward the anti-Semitic propaganda among the German masses. And in this regard, Joseph Goebbels, who was an active member of the Nazi party, who was the propaganda minister under Hitler, played a very important role in spreading this anti-Semitic propaganda amongst the masses. When we talk about the spreading of anti-Semitic propaganda through propaganda films in Nazi Germany, mention must be made of the film The Eternal Jew. Now, The Eternal Jew was one such film that actually stereotyped the Jews. The Jews were shown wearing kaftans and the sported long flowing beard. So these are certain posters of the film The Eternal Jew. Here you can see how the Jews have been stereotyped. The star or the mark of David has been used here, and at the same time they were shown wearing a long kaftan, and they also sported long flowing beard. Now these ideas might be slightly unfamiliar to us, but we should remember that anti-Semitic propaganda was at its peak during the Nazi rule in Germany. And so the German masses instantly identified the Jews from these posters, which is why they were also filled with anger and distrust and suspicion for the Jews through all these propaganda films, these posters, advertisements, or even through language. So from this lesson we can understand the importance of propaganda in Nazi Germany. Because the Nazis used a propaganda to stereotype and exterminate the Jews as a whole. They also used this propaganda to fill the German masses with hatred for all those undesirables. Now, having talked about the art of propaganda in this lesson, in our subsequent lesson we will be focusing on the crimes that were done against humankind as a whole by the Nazi party in Germany. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers, or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million+ questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So register for free now.